Hi, my Stampin' friends. I am Charlene from stampinwithcharlene.com. It is Tuesday, November 10th, 2020, and welcome to Almost Live Stamping with Charlene. Before we get into tonight's project, I do want to point out a couple of things. Please subscribe to my channel and click the little bell icon so you can receive an email alert whenever I post a new video. If you'll notice, I kind of snuck a little video in there about a week and a half ago. It's just a short 4-minute video, and it gives a little technique on how to use Stampin' Up's builder punches. It's very short, but it's a video that I posted in addition to my weekly Almost Live tutorials. So be sure to subscribe. The second thing is I just had the privilege of attending Stampin' Up's On Stage, which is also referred to, or used to be referred to, as the convention, where all of the Stampin' Up demonstrators gather. It was virtually this time. And I learned so many new things, new techniques, but more importantly, I was able to see the brand new upcoming celebration brochure, which begins in January, and also the new mini catalog, which runs from January 2021 to June 2021. And let me tell you, I want everything in the new catalog. I cannot wait to show you all of the new things that are coming out. So be sure to stay tuned for that. But for tonight, let's move on to the project. We're going to be using the Poinsettia Place Suite from the current mini catalog. And we are making what is called a side-hinged card. So it has this really neat side opening that's hinged, and then it opens like this, and I guess it would be even better if I held it right side up. So it opens like this and like this. And what I love about this, and what you're going to love, are all the fun elements that I used on it, and I'm going to show you a technique that you can do with the sponge daubers. So let's get started on tonight's project. One more look at the card before we get started. For the base of the card, I used our In Color Bumblebee cardstock, and this measures 5.5 by 7.5, so it's a bit different than what we normally use as a card base. And then it's scored at 3 1/4. So you want to do that and then fold it over. And this is a piece of the beautiful Designer Series paper from the Poinsettia Place Designer Series paper pack, which is in the mini catalog. This is the back side, this is the front. There are beautiful designs in that paper. So I'm going to, this is measured at 5 1/4 by 3 inches. So I'm gonna just go ahead and adhere this with my liquid glue. And we can set this aside and then start working on our flap right here, the hinged piece. For the hinge piece, I took a piece of garden green cardstock and the largest of the stitched nested framelits dies, and I cut one of those out, and then I took the first nesting size after the largest die, and I cut a piece of a bumblebee with that, with my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And once again, let's just look at how fabulous these dies are with that stitching that it provides. Once you cut them out, I absolutely love it. So after you do this, then go ahead and take your paper trimmer, and you want to take the larger piece and put it in there, and make sure that you are using the lighter blade. This is the scoring blade. The darker blade is the cutting blade. So what we want to do is put the tip of the stitched framelit die piece of paper that you just cut out at 3 3/4 inches, and then go ahead and score that. And you can fold that over, and then take the bumblebee piece, and now we can put our little scoring tool up there out of the way. And now what we're gonna do here is, now I'm gonna show you how easy it is to assemble the hinge. Take a piece of very vanilla cardstock, and this is cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4. It's the piece that's going to layer on the inside. And then take the garden green, which is the larger piece that you scored, and you are just going to put some adhesive on this smaller side right here. And then on the very vanilla inside piece, just take your hinged piece and adhere it to what looks about the center of this piece of cardstock. And then we're just going to adhere this piece to our card base. Just like that. And then take the piece of bumblebee, and I lined mine up with the edge here of the garden green. So you can see that there. Whoops, getting a little ahead of myself. So go ahead and adhere that there like that. And you can see that's how easy it is to create the hinge. And you can do this with any color, with any designer series paper. You can decorate it any way you want to. But I am going to now show you how I did mine with the Poinsettia Dies. And you see this peeking out from the back? This is the plush poinsettia specialty paper, which is, it's gorgeous. It's like felt, and I'm gonna show you how I colored that in. I'm gonna keep my sample here while I show you how I assembled it, but I wanna show you that I used all of the different sizes of the Poinsettia Dies. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I have a video up if you search my videos on what all this means. You might see, what is that blue? What is that green? What does all that mean? It's just a system that I came up with because these are 2 separate pieces. If you look here, one is an embossing piece and then the other one cuts out the image. So to make sure that everything stays lined up, I came up with this little system. So that's a separate video. I'll actually link it below in the description so you can find it more easily. But these are the different poinsettias that you want to cut out, these different sizes here. And I cut them out using on very vanilla cardstock, and they come out so pretty because not only are they cut, but they are also embossed with the veins in them. I don't know if you can see that. There you can see that. So I cut one of each of these, and then I used this little guy. And on my bumblebee, from my bumblebee cardstock, I cut out the little center for the flower. And let me move these out of the way and show you what I did. If you can see the flower here, look at the edges, and they have some kind of texture to them. So now I'm gonna show you how I did that. This is one of 2 ways that I'm going to use the sponge daubers in this project. The sponge daubers come in this little pack here, and there are 5 of them in there, and they're really cute because you can put them on your finger, and it makes it easier to use them to apply the ink to your project. So I'm going to use just a teeny bit of the bumblebee ink, and I don't want it to look too severe, but I'm just gonna go around and just kind of burnish the ends of the different poinsettia pieces, just to give them some dramatic dimension. And I don't mind that I'm not re-inking it because I don't want it to be too severe. Just a little bit of a shadow on each one of these 4 little pieces of the poinsettia. And then after that, I'm going to take my Wink of Stella. So there's lots of techniques in this card tonight. And I am just going to paint a teeny bit, just randomly on each of the leaves to give them some shimmer. And this is one of those things that I really can't translate for you on the camera. You really have to see it in person because it's just a subtle glimmer of glitter. So after I've done all that, then I can just go ahead and layer the pieces, just alternating them so that we can see all of the different leaves. And then I'm going to finish it off by putting the tiny little bumblebee piece that I cut out right in the center of the flower. Just like that. So now our poinsettia is all finished, and I'm going to move on to showing you the really gorgeous plush poinsettia specialty designer series paper. You're going to be amazed at it. I'm going to do my best to show this to you on camera, but it's the plush poinsettia specialty paper. And if these are the different designs that come in the pack, this is like felt or like velvet. All of these images. So it has texture to them. So I'm going to show you what I did to get the color on there. If you can see, the berries here are bumblebee, and then the leaves, you can tell just very subtly, are old olive. So let me show you how I did that and how you can easily cut them out, because there are dies from the Poinsettia Petals die set that are made to fit exactly over the images. So let me zoom in here, and if you can see, these berries fit exactly over this. And then the smaller leaf fits over the leaf. Just like that. So what you want to do is take your piece of paper, and instead of cutting it all up, just take your paper snips and go in there and find an area where two full images are near each other. Like right here, I have a full leaf and I have a full berry. So I'm just going to take my paper snips, go in there, leave enough room around there so you can get the die on it. So just cut this out, and then place your die over each image and run it through your Stampin' cut and emboss machine. And after you've done that, I needed 2 for each card. So after you've done that, you have the images perfectly cut out from the Specialty Designer Series paper. So now we're going to color them. This is the second way we are going to use the sponge dauber tonight. I'm going to take the same one that I just used with the Bumblebee ink, and I'm just going to ink it up. And because I said this is like velvet on top, I am just going to take my sponge dauber and dab it around, and the texture of the paper will pick up the color from the sponge dauber. And there you have some yellow berries. So let's do that on both of those. And then for the leaves, I am taking another sponge dauber, and I'm going to take my old olive and do the same thing. Just dab it in my ink and then just rub it gently onto the paper, and the texture of the paper absorbs the color from the sponge dauber. So easy, isn't it? So easy. You will totally wow your friends with this. Look at how the veins in the leaf just pop right out. So now that we've done all that, we can move on to assembling our card. The first thing I want to do is take one of the gold rings, which is in the current mini catalog, and I am going to, let me bring in my sample here so you can see how I put it all together. I'm just going to put it kind of off to the side, kind of like that, and I'm just going to stick it down with a piece of tear and tape adhesive. And then what I'm going to do is take the poinsettia flower that we already assembled, and I'm going to carefully make sure that I put it down so that it doesn't go off the side, so that it fits in the envelope. So there we go, as close as we can to the edge without going over. And then you can go ahead and use some of the same adhesive and then just attach the leaves wherever you want. Just, I think I'll put one there, and I'll put one over here. And I'm just using my multi-purpose liquid glue. And then you can attach your berries. Let's put one over here, wherever you want to do it. There's no right or wrong. And then I will put another one, I think up here. And then I tied a piece of the thick linen thread on the side here, if you can see that. And for the sentiment, what I did was I just took the Merry Christmas greeting from the Poinsettia Petals stamp set. There are so many stamps in this set. This is such a good value. This stamp set, along with the dies, if you were to purchase each thing separately, it would cost you so much money, but it is so affordable. Plus, when you purchase it as a bundle, you save an extra 10%. So this is a great value, but I'm going to use the Merry Christmas. And I'm using my, this is Old Olive. Now, if you'll notice, on my sample, I stamped it up a little too high. You can see it peeking out there. So you want to make sure when you stamp your greeting, you stamp it down lower so that the hinge hides the greeting. So I'm going to stamp this down a little bit lower right there. And there you have it, a side-hinged greeting card. I have another tip for you. Just because Halloween is over doesn't mean that we can't go back to this stamp set. This was featured for our October card class in the mail. I also did one of my Almost Live videos, and there is a stamp set in here that says there is magic in this night. And don't you think, do you agree with me that on Christmas Eve or even the nights of Hanukkah and Christmas night that you feel a special magic in those nights? So this is a great stamp that you can also bring back out. Once the holiday is over, don't put the stamp set away. You can look through them and see if there are other reasons or other holidays where you can use the stamp set again. So I am definitely going to make some cards with this saying on there, there is magic in this night. So once again, a very easy fun fold card. If you follow along step by step, you can easily recreate this with any of the stamp sets that you already have in designer series paper and embellishments. But if you are looking for holiday cards that you can make this year, I've listed all the supplies that I used below in the link. So you can click on that, or you can visit my blog, stampinwithcharlene.com, to order the things that I used tonight. You can order all of the supplies or just the embellishments, just the designer series paper, whatever you would like to add to your collection of Stampin' Up! Items. So it was great seeing you this week, and I will be back again next week with another really fun project. Thanks for watching.